G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company in New Zealand. I'm in my garage at home and I'm going through a bit of a wiring loom, and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to talk about the connector or connectors right by #1 injector on the non-VVTi engines. That's pretty specific there, eh?
I think so. Both
Gen 1 and Gen 2. The loom I'm looking at today is a Gen 2 loom. It's off an LS400. So it had a viscous fan. And interesting enough, it didn't have an EGR, which I thought was quite interesting. That's the bit we're actually going to be talking about. That's the bit we're talking about.
It's scraggly a bit.
Now I have a mate here who come visiting on a Sunday. So what this has normally got is it's normally got a plastic cover over this, okay? And when this one was removed, it's this is the front crank loom.
Right.
Okay, so the plastic bit goes underneath the cam covers. So there's some behind the cam pulleys. There's some covers, and it sort of sits in behind there and bolted in. So you really need to take the cam cover off. You take the cam pulley off, and then you take that cover off to get this out. But
shit.
Destructive removal happens. And then what people get is they pull it apart, and it's covered in a heap of this stuff. So like a hard plastic.
Chocolate.
And yeah, a whole lot of rubber. The Toyota went overboard on the insulation. We'll get rid of that. Which looks like this one. And then you've got a shielded cable. Do I need to explain a shielded cable? Probably should, eh? We'll have a look at that in a minute.
So EMF, this is an electromagnetic field, don't get induced into it.
Yeah, so...
And upset the signal.
So we've got a 6-pin plug there. And we've got, in this case, it's a 2-pin plug because it's no hydraulic fan. We'll look at the engine loom. So in the engine loom, I've put a 4-pin plug in because I'm going to run oil pressure in there as well. So I've used that plug.
Oh, okay.
But it's got the coil, 12 volts for the coil. That's the left-hand coil, or coil number 1. Yeah, coil number 1. And then this one's got a white blue. So that's your coil trigger. And that's in by #1 injector, by the diagnostic box. And the other one has got this big loom. See, it's got blue wire.
It's shielded again, isn't it?
It's a shielded cable again. So if I dig in here, underneath this, I'm going to hold this. And I'll tap on here for you, so you can actually bring me in. I'll unwrap this, and so a shielded cable.
Kind of a braid, isn't it, from what I recall?
Yeah, so...
Kind of a braid on the outside.
So you've got your plastic covering, and then you've got a layer of braided meshing metal in here. And
some applications, I've seen it on stereos where you have to actually ground that shielding.
Okay.
The shielding itself has to be grounded.
It has to be grounded. You only ground it at one end.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Okay, gotcha. So it must be grounded at one end.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the stereo in that particular case.
So what we've got in here is we've got crank angle.
Ground it on both ends, you might make a transformer.
Yep, we've got a crank angle, and we've got our 2 cam angle sensors, signals, okay. Then we've actually got 2 earths in here. Mm-hmm. That's the 2 signal earths that go back to the ECU.
Right.
Now, in the loom, we've got shielding for the oxygen sensors, which is that one.
That's white, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's one on this side, which I don't actually know which colour that one is in there, but if we go over here, so these are oxygen sensor shielded wires.
Right.
There's the white one. You'll see the white one comes up and it joins into a single white wire going to the ECU, but it's got another wire coming back. It's a black white wire. They actually come up to the diagnostic box. OX1 and OX2 in the diagnostic box.
What are they for?
So that's if you want to test your oxygen sensors.
Oh,
you can actually manually test them in there.
Ah, so you can do read your millivolts and stuff.
You can read your millivolts. So you've got, that's why there's these 4, but they're joined together. And then you've got this bit here. See this stuff? So if I untake that and it goes into this funny stuff here, That's your grounding for your shielding.
Ah, yes.
It comes up to this little unit here. So there's your shielding. And that's why it's been manually wrapped up.
This is a connector, a jumper connector of some sort. It's for your earths, isn't it?
It's a jumper connector for your earths. So if we pop this open, did I get in the right spot or did I get in the wrong spot? There it is. It's all joined together.
Yeah, so that's
So
your bridging earth.
There's your big brown one. That will go back to the back of the block, back of the heads.
Right.
That one will be that one. And these ones are all our shields.
So more or less all your earths come to this and becomes one thing.
All the shield earths, yes.
All the shield earths.
And then we've got, so that's oxygen sensors. We've got them. And then over there we've got these two. So they're a single wire shielded. There's our shields going back into there. You can see that, right?
Right into here, isn't it?
So those are our knock sensors, which come from up here. So here's knock sensor, start, trigger plug. And there's our blue, yellow shielded wires.
So your shielded wires for anything of a critical type of signal back. So if it gets any kind of interference, the ECU's not going to be able to see it properly.
Correct. So that's those two. And then, of course, I've got a piece. I had a piece of shielded wire. This was in the Loom. Funnily enough, it has been removed. Oh, these ones. So this one isn't. They didn't use a braid.
Oh, it's just tin foil.
They use a tin foil in these ones.
Yeah. I've seen that tin foil. Not an automotive application, but I've seen it.
There's your tin foil. Okay, yes. And then there's also in here. There's an earth there. That's part of the tin foil.
Ah, okay.
And what you will also find is you'll find this piece here, which you'll show in that one. I don't know if that is the one I'm wanting. Yep, that's what I wanted. It's not wire. It's a piece of plastic.
Ah, so it's like a structural type thing, or
no, it's just a piece of like a guide that they run in there, or a filler. So if we go to this one, so in here we've got again. There's our piece of rubber, bendy rubber. I just cut them off normally. There's our shielding, which goes back over here.
Yeah, to all the shielded earths. Yeah.
And then we've got those two go back to our grounds, which are NE negative and G negative, which is, so G negative is the earth for the cam angle sensors, and the NE negative is the earth for the crank angle sensor. And then there's the crank angle sensor and the two cam sensors. They all go down through that same shielded wire, blue shielded wire, right through to this plug, which is it has that plug there. I have them in stock. This is the 4-pin connector, and I've got the 3-pin connectors as well. Oh, the 2-pin connectors as well. So we've got that connector. So what we've got here, though, so we've just discussed, we've got an earth for crank angle, earth for cam angles, the crank angle, and the 2 cam angle sense. Okay, that's 5 wires. This is a 6-pin plug.
Yeah, well, you often don't make a 5-pin plug, do you? 1, 2, 4, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 is usually.
Pardon? Igniter plugs, 5 pins.
Oh, my apologies.
Airflow meter plugs, 5 pins.
I'm wrong.
But
I'm putting my hand up and I'm wrong.
Yeah. We go to this one. What we've also got is this brown wire. Brown is typically an earth on Toyotas.
Okay.
So it comes over here to the back of the back cylinder head again. So that one runs through there. So we've got the signal wires with the signal earths and an extra earth that comes through. And that's because in here we no longer have one shielded cable because we're going to different places. We've got crank angle, cam angle, cam angle. There's the earth, which funnily enough, here's the earth here. So we've got the green as an earth and the white as an earth for the cam and cranks. They then come down to the same place down here I've actually already taped that one up. But they join together anyway. The signal earths join in the front crank loom.
So why have you got? So why is there more separate up there?
Why do they run them separate back to the ECU?
Yeah.
Just the way Toyota did them.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, but this is a separate loom, so maybe this was an afterthought compared to that.
They're joined in the ECU anyway.
Oh, they okay.
So if I continuity tested the ECU,
they should both be just as
they're joined.
Yeah.
They're joined at the ECU.
So they ran two wires, but there's only one connection anyway. So
then they join up here. So that's crank angle earth, and there's your cam angle earths. Those are cam angle earths there. So this one comes down. Then we've got this one comes down here to cam angle, blue and yellow. Yellow's the signal. There's the signal up there. And you'll see there's no blue wire in here. That's because the blue gets added at that earth join.
Right.
And then we've got crank angle sensor, black and a white, which we had. But of course the earths are joined at the earth join. And we've got another one, Here it is. Red is our signal, and green is our earth. All through there, but also we talked about this extra brown wire over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it goes through this plug here, comes out to this big ugly join. This is really cool by Toyota.
Yes.
And then it comes over here to this join, and it's the ground. There's our shields. You know how we had the shields over by the ECU?
Yeah.
There's our shield wires that have just sort of been taped up. So this tape falls apart, and people go in there, and there's all these bare wires, and they freak out because it looks disgusting.
Yeah,
but this is actually factory Toyota, how Toyota did it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, cut that wire, and I'm actually going to go direct into there.
Well, what's behind this piece here? Just a join. Oh, okay. That's kind of strange that it was another.
See how crispy it is?
Oh yeah, isn't it?
They actually crept on taped inside this one, so this one doesn't have as much glue in it. It's got a white rubbery glue, and these are crimp.
That's just strange that they kind of put so many extra pieces into it. Really, I suppose it's like, why would you make, every joint is another job, isn't it?
And this stuff falls apart.
Yeah.
So people, again, they freak out, but it's not as bad as it actually looks into here. Of course, we've also got the cam and the trigger for the coils, and if it's got a hydraulic fan, it's got those as wires as well. And then we've got that mystery sensor on the front that no one knows what it is. That fella, which is just a noise suppressor. It's not a sensor.
Yes, that's right.
That's your capacitor.
Yeah, little capacitor, yeah.
To stop your interference.
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, Toyota are working hard not to have interference in this loom.
Yeah.
With the shielded wires. And that's why you've got a brown wire going through there, because it just goes to earth. So there's no earths here. Then you've actually got more shielded cable on each of the cam angle sensors, but they're actually earthed back in the sensor itself.
Right.
So there's a lot of attempts to try and minimize noise within the cam and crank sensor wiring. But I'm just going to tape that up, and I'll tape that up with crapped on tape nicely, and then a bit of big proper tape, and I'm going to shorten that one up, and I'll tape that one up, and then I'll tape it all up nicely, bit of covering, and it'll look just lovely. This job, the loom's good enough that I don't need to put a whole new one on. But I do build new ones of these as well. But if they're in alright condition like this one, it looks a bit ratty now, but it'll look fine when I'm done. And a bit of tape, it'll look just lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should put a diagram of which wires there are, but cam and crank sensors, all by number one, easy to work with. To get that plug off, it was some destructive removal. And a little tip, guys, the part numbers are actually located on the connectors on most of the Toyotas. Might be hard to see there, but that says 11197. You put 90980 in front of it, 11197. That connector, which was destructively removed, is replaced with that one. Handy, eh? And the other reason that we don't connect both ends of the shield is it creates a magnet and creates more noise, more interference, or can create more interference. Hence why we only earth the one end. Tendency is to earth it closer to the ECU. And here we have an example of some shielded cable. This is on the oxygen sensor. So we've got, here's the signal wire for the oxygen sensor. We have this wound wire section running around the center shield, the center signal wire. One of the problems is that I get so intimate with these looms all the time. I know these little bits and pieces and know the differences between them.
You also know that, you know, you've been interfered with the UZs.
I've been interfered with one UZ.
I swear I've never had an interference with the UZ before.
One UZ, actually, I was walking past it the other day and it reached out and it grabbed me.
Where did it grab you?
It grabbed my hip.
Do we require the police to be involved with sexual harassment?
It grabbed my hip and it ripped my pocket. It ripped my pants off. And my bum hanging out.
I swear it's going to end up...
Because it was trying to get into my pants, that one UZ. It did.
Probably got into your pants, did it?
It actually did a lot of damage. I think I threw those overalls away.
Did it physically interfere with you or not?
No, not quite. No. I have had them. I have had the scratches where they've got me. When you just walk past them a bit close and they scratch you.
I've had a cat interfere with me. It punched me in the mouth.
Really?
Yeah, when I was cutting a cat off a car. I banged it. I didn't get both hooks off. I think came along and smacked me right in the mouth and knocked me down.
I felt like doing that lots of times. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's lucky you just can't reach.
No.
You can't reach that high.
Anyway, so I hope that's been helpful a little bit on what's going on there. When I'm doing them, I do have proper pictures, but if I can't be bothered, I draw my little picture. And I know what colours go where, which is interesting too. Probably because I do quite a lot of them. But don't be scared if you look at that front crank loom and it has got some bare wires in there, a bit of tape, bit of a tidy up. Get your multimeter out, continuity test it if you need to. It's pretty easy to work out where things actually go, and the colours on the top plug are the same as the colours on the bottom plug. So providing you have one of the plugs still intact, you can work out which way the colours and the wires do actually fit. Right, I'm going to continue with this wiring loom, and
I'm going home.
You're going home, and we'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later.
See ya.
Now, as I was saying, that I do build brand new ones of these, but there's an example of one that I've just done a refab on it. There's a bit of braid in there, there's a bit of tape in there, there's some new plugs everywhere, all the plugs are new. Cam plugs, cam sensor plugs, crank sensor plugs, with a little modification for the oil pressure switch is now part of the engine, or the main engine loom, the front crank loom. Comes up through a 4-pin right there. Ta-ta-da! And interesting, there was actually some tape about here, and this loom had some damage. I will get around one day to doing another video on testing these circuits, multimetering out the cam and crank sensors, which I've shown, but another one to test, just shush, as another bit of a hint. When you're checking them, sometimes it pays to check for continuity to that shielding wire. The main place that they rub through is through the front crank loom. So if you check the continuity for the cam and crank sensor signal wires to that brown shield wire, you can sometimes pick up problems in those front crank looms. Just a little hint.